Hi everyone, I'm sorry I cannot be at class today. I apologize. We're driving to Los Angeles this afternoon to play UCLA on Saturday, and Dr. Sullivan has been very generous and kind as to let me do this electronically. Um, as the international economist, Mercedes obviously just presented, and as the other international economist, so I think it's fitting that we did it on the same day, so it's fair to you guys. But once again, I appreciate you guys accommodating me on this, and so thank you. So as the international economist, I looked at four things around the world which I think are critical to our group and very interesting, related to technology. So the first one would be Brexit. The second one would be China, some new technological developments there. New election technology in Belgium by a French firm. Lastly, in Zimbabwe, some new tech developments there, and in Southern Africa. So to the next slide. All right, Brexit. So as you guys all know, the United Kingdom voted in 2016 in September whether to stay in the European Union or to leave. Ended up being 52% to leave and 48% to stay. Therefore, the decision was to leave the European Union. There was a lot of controversy on this, some happy, some unhappy, and a lot of people wondering what's going to happen in Europe and in the United Kingdom. Like every action in life, this will affect politically and financially, and mostly in Europe. So the next slide. All right, the derivatives. So Brexit will give the derivatives market a nasty headache. The city handles a big chunk of the market, including 39% in interest rate derivatives alone, where global daily turnover averages 3 trillion. British banks would no longer automatically be licensed in the EU. They would lose the right to sign new derivative contracts with European counterparties, as a lot of derivatives, the hub of derivatives is the London Exchange. Therefore, a lot of people are saying, are they going to slip down the international leagues of the GDP since the move? However, this is true. However, there has been quite a few ups. If you look at the right part of the slide, the GDP, this is a graph showing successively over the years and since the vote. The referendum forecasted that house prices would fall quickly by up to a fifth, and that unemployment would rise over 800,000. The UK economy has estimated to have grown 1.8% since the 2016 vote. It's quite a lot for GDP. Housing prices are steady and unemployment is at its lowest it's ever been in 42 years. Global trade volumes have grown decently despite Donald Trump's scary rhetoric. Britain, an economy that's highly dependent on international trade, has had a depreciation of sterling, which has boosted the economy almost and given them almost 10% below its pre-vote level. Britain still remains a very attractive place for foreign investors. And many of you may ask, why is this happening? Why, since the vote, everyone thought they might be going on, why are they still doing well economy? Part of this to do is the people of the UK are embracing the decision. Theresa May, the Prime Minister, has done an amazing job of trying to negotiate how the whole move will go down and keep the relations with the EU. It's not as bad as people think. However, as we draw closer to March, there could be some changes, and it could hurt UK as well as the European Union. Next slide, please. All right, China. So on the left side, in relation to technology, there's been a huge advancement in facial recognition. People can now identify faces through cameras on the street, public security cameras. This is huge in identifying potentially children stolen from their families, even years after the event, by projecting how their facial characteristics will evolve and picking them up on a CCTV or something many years from now. This is proposed to spread throughout the world as well. The projected projects for the year, they'll be focusing on the manufacturing sector. They'll be focusing on internet-enabled businesses. That's how the world is moving, very tech forward, such as artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things. Due to the positive results and confidence that the government can micromanage at the sector level successfully, investment does look very promising. The right side, presidency has recently put several new leaders in important positions for various departments. This is to secure his position. This also tells us that he's very confident and looks to make some regulations coming up. Relations with Japan and the United States do remain volatile, but with the potential of damaging discontinued in trade and investment. One big thing is China is creating such popular online payments that cash payments are expected to be obsolete in China by 2020. It's quite scary. Okay, next slide. So, new election technology in Belgium, a Belgian invention. This is a subsidiary of Safran, which is originally a French firm best known for aerospace technology. It has delivered 45,000 tablets to check biometric voter identification. It is at the 40,000 polling stations to prevent multiple people voting. Around 360,000 officials have been hired and trained to staff them and oversee the count as well. They do not only provide the technology, but provide people to oversee it and monitor it. The voters register of 19.6 million has been vetted by the KPMG and international auditor. To prove their identities, as you can see in the photo, you must press your thumb on the finger or the tablet shown above. Each party or candidate will be entitled to put agents in the polling stations to oversee the count, which will be transmitted electronically and manually to one of the 290 constituencies stations. Computerized tablets will be used as well as laptops, electronic records, all votes and everything will be electronically. Therefore, this reduces the chances of rigging an election or skullduggery. If you go to the next slide, there's a big difference in how this is affecting Africa. To be a democracy in anything takes more than just free elections. However, to ensure that free election is the start. This technology that the Belgians did was used in Kenya in August of last year. They had their presidential election. It was also used in Zambia in the early part of last year. During both their elections, this had a huge impact in assuring the people and giving them confidence that this election was going to be fair. And due to this, there was a lot less rioting, a lot less angry people post-election. Zimbabwe and South Africa, which is also part of this southern, I'm probably focusing on that because that's where I'm from, but I'm very interested to learn more there. Zimbabwe and South Africa have elections coming up. Zimbabwe has an election coming up this year, and South Africa at the end of, I think at the beginning of next year. So many are pushing to use this technology, and I think Safran are also for the idea. So if you go to the next slide. All right, Zimbabwe. So this, as you know, this is a small country in the southern part of Africa. Its reputation over the years has just been either a dictatorship or such bad inflation. That's the first thing that comes to people's minds. However, in the last 4 or 5 months, as some of you might have seen all over the news, we've had a change in government, and the country is looking positive. However, just to give you an idea, the Zimbabwe currency, as you can see there on the left, when we got our independence in 1980, Zimbabwean dollar was introduced, and for the first couple of years it did okay, and once the millennium hit, early parts of 2005, 2006, the inflation hit an all-time high, and in 2008, the inflation was 250 million%. We actually had trillions and quadrillion notes. It's quite scary. Then, to deal with this, as you can see on the right, the country switched to the US dollar. We made a deal with the United States where we could import the cash and use that as our currency. This did temporarily solve the issue. However, since then there's been a constant struggle to attain the actual cash to pay, as there's not a lot coming into the country, as we do not have the option to print this money. Therefore, to deal with this lack of cash available problem, the Reserve Bank issued temporary bond notes, as you can see in the bottom there. These bond notes were put to represent 1 to the dollar. However, this is a problem because we don't have the economy to back up these bond notes. These bond notes can only be used in Zimbabwe, and this rolls over to the foreign currency issue in the banking system that is currently going on. So if you look in the next slide, the cash has become such a luxury to have, and banks have limited how much people can draw as you can see on the right there, is ATM, and people going early in the mornings just to get their currency allocation, resulting in absurdly long lines, as you saw. Why is this? Due to the political turmoil that surrounded the country for the last decade, the agricultural sector has crashed, which is the tobacco and the farming industry, which is a huge part for us. Imports are a lot higher than exports, therefore our foreign currency payments are increasing, and they outweigh our foreign currency that we are receiving. This creates an issue with the Nostro account. The Nostro account is an account that every bank has outside the country, and that account is used to pay. When you swipe a card outside the country, you use that account to pay for, to settle the payments. This Nostro account has almost been depleted in a lot of banks, therefore regulations have been, and you have to put in a request to get the money, to get foreign currency. Now, if we go to the result. Okay, so cash has become such a luxury, and this issue is creating a black market on the currency. So now people are willing to pay 1.5 to the dollar, on the black market in order to debit your account if you give me the cash. To the right is this new interesting technological development. It's called EcoCash, actually a cellular network called Econet, the equivalent of a T-Mobile or Verizon, came up with this. The EcoCash project, you have to register with Econet. It's a form of a cryptocurrency, but you register with them, you set up an account. Every business has an EcoCash number, and when you pay, instead of doing cash, you follow some steps on your phone to enter that number, and they receive a text once they have been paid. This is taking over the country. I was there a couple months ago, 2 months ago, and almost everywhere is accepting EcoCash. The cryptocurrencies trading is very popular in Zimbabwe due to this, and it is a monopoly market, so Econet is making a killing on this. But it's a very interesting development that has come. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them when I come back to class, but I really appreciate you guys accommodating me on this, and I hope you learned a few things that you didn't know. Look forward to seeing you guys next class. Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you, Dr. Sullivan. Thank you, everyone.